So this is my old Viroc air rifle. This is an HW97 built according to my local gunsmith somewhere between 1995 and 1998. That's the serial number, if you can read that there. That's 14432333. So it is quite an oldish one. It's a long barrel version. Apparently they only make these now in like a carbine. So yeah, it's getting on for 20 years old. It's a bit battered, so I'm going to fix it up a little bit. I think that's the plan. New scope, polish it up a little bit. Take the stock off and get rid of all of this. Tuning kit inside, a bit of a VMAC tuning kit, I think. Going to try and get rid of all that's on there because that doesn't look very. It's a little bit unsightly, really, all of that. So, got to try and get rid of that. Polish the stock up and hopefully make it a nicer looking gun. It's doing all right for its age, but you know, everything needs a bit of a clean every now and again, doesn't it? I think so. It's time for this one to go to the cleaning shop. When I say the cleaning shop, I mean, well, my spare room probably, where it's going to stink of varnish for the next God knows how long until it takes me to get this done. So yeah, that's it. Well, here we go. Gun's looking a bit different today, in as much as there is no gun, it's just the stock. This is the bit really that we want to try and fix up. That's quite a nasty chip there, so I've taken it out and we're going to have a go with this stuff, Birchwood Casey finishing kit, which is supposedly the bee's knees. So we're going to start off with this, which is going to make it look awful, and then scrape it all off and start again. So this is going to take a couple of weeks probably to get this up and running to a good condition. We don't want to ruin that checkering. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. We'll see how this goes. It's been a long time coming. It's a bit battered, the poor old thing. So we'll see what happens. See what happens. He who dares wins. Well, we are approximately 20 minutes into fixing up my old air rifle. That's what we've got so far. That's the standard we're now at. I think the phrase here is it gets worse before it gets better. A couple of things I've discovered. This stuff eats latex gloves like they're not even there. And also, it smells quite nice. So, yeah, shut yourself in a room, close the windows, inhale deeply, enjoy. That is a joke, don't do that, it's probably very harmful. Alright, so this is day 2 now, start of day 2. This has been drying out for 24 hours overnight after the varnish stripping stuff has gone on it. It's not come out too bad, there's some staining there. Hasn't quite all come out of the checkering. That side's not too bad. There's some bits there on that side, so I'm going to give that another little burst today. Try and get some of that staining out on the stock as well. It's not quite all come out. And in here needs redoing as well. There's some bits in there that haven't come out altogether. But yeah, it's getting there. It's looking just like a normal bit of wood now. So we'll give it another go today with the stuff and try and get the last little bits out, and then it'll be sanding after that. Alright, sounds weird, but hot steamy shower. We're covered in methylated spirit to help raise the wood and get all the gunk and stuff out of the internal bits of the wood, and the scrub with the toothbrush. So steam it for a bit and see how it looks. Alright, so it's come out of the shower. It's looking much more uniform now. It's still a bit wet, so the next step is wet sanding with boiling water. Keep the fibres of the wood raised. Got my sanding block. Got my bit of dowel in there for curved edges and that sort of thing. Just wrap the paper around there and then choose which curve you need. So yeah, get it sanded. Start off with about 120, then down to 400, wet and dry all the way, and see how it looks. Right, so this is it, wet and dry sanded down to 600 grit paper. We're going to go down to 1200, and then I think we're going to start staining it. I'm not sure yet whether I'm going to, once it's stained, whether I'm going to sand fill it or not. I'm not really sure how that's going to come out with staining on it. It's pretty good now. It really does feel smooth, so I think I've got the makings of a good shine on it, hopefully. All the scuffs that were there are now gone, so I'm going to go over with 1200 grit. I'm going to wet and dry it as I have done with everything else. It's actually, put some boiling water on it, and you can see now a bit of grain when you wet it. There's not much grain up here. It's just, I mean, it's not an amazing piece of wood, it's just a standard beech stock, but it has got the makings, I think, of maybe a nice little bit of grain on it. So polished up, that hopefully is going to look quite nice, a little bit darker with some staining on it, and hopefully it will look quite nice. So we're getting there, So there's it, unwet, or dry I should say, and with some water on it, comes up all right actually for a beech stock. It doesn't look too bad. So we'll see, hopefully, fingers crossed, hopefully it'll come out all right. Alright, so that I've wet sanded it now at 1200 grit. I'm just waiting for it to dry properly, then I'm going to do a little bit of dry sanding. So what I'm doing now, what I have just done, is just very, very lightly, with the tip of a Stanley blade, is just gone along the outer edges of the checkering and just re-scored it. Not that it looked bad particularly, but I think where it's kind of 20 years old and it's had some wear on the checkering, I just thought I'd do just the outer edges, just very gently, just to put a little bit more definition in. Obviously, because I've sanded it and I've sanded right to the edge, it's perhaps not as defined as it was before I started, so I thought I'll just put a line back in. I've been really light. I haven't tried to do any of the actual checkering itself. I've got no idea how to do that, but I thought a very, very light score in the existing lines all the way around, just one pass all the way around, might help. I don't know if it's made a difference or not, to be honest, how that looks. I think it doesn't look too bad. I haven't put any new lines in. I've just kind of tried to go a little bit deeper in the existing lines. So hopefully that'll give that a little bit more definition once I give it another wash and wash all the dust out. And then next step is going to be staining. I decided I am going to stain it. I'm going to use some of this walnut stain and see how that comes out. See how it looks. Put a bit of colour in. So yeah, we're hopefully on the way to having quite a nice stock. We'll see. Alright, we're on day 4 now. So this is 8.5 hours of sanding and an hour of putting 2 coats of the walnut stain on. Gone from 120 grit down to 1200 grit, wet and dry all the way. Give it a little bit of a scrub with wire wool, and then 2 coats of the old walnut stain there, which I mixed roughly 50 to 50. And that's how it's come out. It's quite a nice colour. I do like it. I'm not going to put another coat on, I don't think. I don't want it to go too dark, because when I start oiling it, that'll make it dark anyway. There's no sign of the damage that was up there. It's nice and even all the way. It's come out a really nice even colour. There's no sign of the damage that was on here. The staining has brought out quite a nice patina in stock, actually. It's a little bit dark up here, but I seem to remember it being a little bit darker up around the top of the grip anyway. But it's done okay. It has brought out what a little bit of grain is there, a bit of dust there. So wipe down with a tack cloth and then first coat of Tru Oil. I'm not going to do the oil sanding or the sand filling with like the slurry sand dust and Tru Oil to fill the pores up, because they're not really particularly visible anyway. And also I have seen that can take away some of the definition of the grain, and bearing in mind there's not a lot of definition there in the first place, I want to highlight that as much as I can rather than cover it up. And bearing in mind I'm probably just going to keep putting Tru Oil on it until it's used up and gone, which is probably going to be 10 or 11 coats, one a day over the next couple of weeks. Then I suspect that will give it the shine I want anyway, and give it the finish that I want and the smoothness that I want. So far I'm quite impressed with it. Let's see how it goes. Right, first coat of Tru Oil is on. Hasn't been sanded yet or anything. That's went on about 2 hours ago. It's going to be a nice colour, I think. So very gentle sanding with 1200 grit. I'm going to sand it dry because I'm a little bit worried about the stain, because it is a water-based stain. If I wet sand it, I don't want the stain to run and go uneven. It's actually come out quite nicely. It is a nice colour. So another few coats of Tru Oil. I'll just keep putting it on until I've used it up, I think. It's a little uneven, the shine, so far on the first coat, but like I said, it hasn't been sanded. So dab it on, let it dry, sand it with very fine grit, and then again, and just keep going until it's done, I suppose, and we'll see what happens. So another 6-7 coats, I don't know, we'll see what happens. Alright, that's 13 coats of Tru Oil, and I am going to call it a day. Once you get past coat 8 or 9, it becomes more damage limitation than anywhere else. You get a nice coat on, you think it's all great and smooth and haven't missed any bits or anything like that. Then you come back and look at it 12 hours later and you find a little run, or you find a little patch that you've missed. So you sand it down again, another coat, and then the bit that you'd missed first time round turns out perfectly, and then you find that you've got a little run or a fingerprint mark or a bit of grit from the wire more than a spot where it wasn't there previously. So you have to get to a point where you just think, this is good enough and I'm gonna stop. This now is reasonably uniform. It's got a nice shine on it. From this sort of distance it looks absolutely spot on. You can't really see any blemishes or anything like that. There are some, but they're very small. And I think that I'm just going to leave it as it is. This is good enough. It looks better than it was for sure, and it probably looks better than when it came out of the factory. The damage that was on that side is not there anymore. It's got a really nice colour. It is relatively uniform all the way around. If you're going really, really close and look at it with the sun hitting it at the right angle, then you can see there are tiny little blemishes and imperfections. But bearing in mind, I am not a professional gunsmith or woodworker or polisher, and I've never done anything like this before. I'm really pleased with it. I cannot complain. I'm going to put a coat of the stock sheen and conditioner on it, which originally I wasn't intending to do because I wanted to leave it a really, really high gloss finish. But the glossier and shinier the finish, the more your little marks and imperfections show up, and also fingerprints and stuff like that really, really show up. Bearing in mind this is a gun to use and not sit on a mantelpiece somewhere or hang on a wall, I'm thinking that maybe taking some of the sheen off with some stock conditioner might be the way to go, because it will hide those tiny, tiny little lines and imperfections that are in it when you look really, really closely. It'll make it less prone to fingerprints, and I don't think it will do anything to hide the grain or anything like that, which has come out better than I was expecting it to. So overall, after 13 coats, I'm going to call this a day. I'm going to let it hang for a week to cure properly, and then the stock sheen and conditioner is going to go on, and then we can get it back together with the barrel and piston, which is going to be the next stage, and get it all together, new scope on, and get shooting with it. So overall, after, not quite sure actually, 15 odd hours maybe of work, from stripping it down, wetting it, sanding it and polishing it, maybe about 15 hours. I'm going to call it a day at coat 13 of the Tru Oil, let it cure for a week, and crack on with the barrel and piston and tuning it up. So job done finally. It's looking okay, and I have to say I'm impressed with it.